Hello everyone, this is Robyn Mancell. This is a bonus call. Today is Monday, August the 28th. And if you are on this call, you are part of the Girls Gone Forex network. You are either in Essentials and graduated. Give yourself a hand to that. Prep School, I believe the graduation announcements are coming very, very shortly. And University, and of course our coaches are in Masters. So we have a pretty big group on Facebook. If you're in the network group, this is an opportunity for you to hear a little bit about what we do. This is going to help you get prepared for coming into the Essentials class. And so I chose this book for a very specific reason. I chose this book because I was mentored by a woman who was part of, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Secret. She was part of that circle. And I was having a challenge with another company that I was in. I was having a challenge, and I was really frustrated about what was going on. I was a top income earner in that company, but I was really frustrated about some of the things that I was dealing with in that company. So one of the things that I did is I had the benefit of being mentored by this woman for years. Actually, I had the benefit of being mentored by her, and she mentored me up until, let's see, let me make sure I did not outmute the calls. Hold on, everybody. Okay, you guys, just to make sure we're good. Okay, can everyone hear me? Just go give me a couple of notes in here. Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, good. So let me just continue where I was at. This is kind of a casual call. This is a bonus call. So all good. All right, so I was mentored by this woman up until her death. She mentored me. Unfortunately, she died of uterine cancer, but she gave me some of the best mentoring I've ever had. She taught specifically on this book, The Science of Getting Rich. This is the only book that she taught from. And I still have some of the recordings from the calls that I hosted from when she actually did this I brought people on the call and she actually taught from the book. So anyway, it is one of my favorite books. It is right up there in my top 5. And so I want to talk to you about it today. And I didn't realize, because it's a book that I keep around, and I've kept the PDF so that I can share it with people. I think I may have, there's so much content here in the book that I think having you go through it in one call is probably going to be just not going to do it justice. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try my best to do as much as I can. I think it's going to be important that we actually break the book up and perhaps have some short conversations about 2 or 3 chapters at a time, instead of me trying to go through all those like 18 chapters at one time. The chapters are very small on the PDF. It's like about 4 or 5 pages. It's only 77 pages, okay? And so if you have other ladies that are in our group, I want you, yes, Savorian, it is an amazing book. I want you to some of you guys have your study groups, a lot of you that in Forex Essentials, because that's our biggest group, you had study groups. I would say use this book as a study book. Okay, because there's huge power in this book. And I'm going to tell you some of the key points that will help you in with this book. When Karen Joyce was mentoring me about the book, I really wasn't, I was going through some of my own challenges, and I was in my feelings, as a lot of us like to say. And so I wasn't really picking up what she was trying to teach me at that time. I was having a hard time. And that is what happens with us a lot of times when we allow our emotions and our feelings to get caught up in what we're going through. So the book, The Science of Getting Rich, really has a lot to do with how being rich is like a science. And what it means by that is, you know how if somebody jumps off of a 10-story building, they cannot defy gravity. It means that if we jump off of a building, whether we are a saint or a sinner, good or bad person, we're going to get the same effect, right? We're going to get the same thing that's going to happen. It does not discriminate based on what kind of person that we are. So I want you to hear that. Understand this. We got to take the emotions out of it, the feelings, and you've got to really look at it like a science. So when we are teaching you, my job is mindset. So when we're teaching you this, we want you to hear what we're saying and the instruction that we're giving. That's what's going on in Girls Gone Forex. Girls Gone Forex was put together to show you how to do it right. So no matter what other people say, some of them are your friends, your family, no matter what they say to you, no matter what anybody out there says, all the myths, you guys have heard it. I've seen some of you post different things in there. There is a science to doing this. There is a science to getting rich. And what you have to do is just follow and do things in a certain way. That is really what it's about. When you do things in a certain way, you get the right results every time. Okay? And so I want you to take out of you really have to rid your mind of what you have been told, the whole thing about hoping. You've got to take all of that out and think about it as a science. All right? And so the book talks about the right to be rich. So there is a science of getting rich. It talks about if the opportunity is monopolized. That's like the first principle in the science of getting rich, right? So these are some of the chapters. I'm just going to go over the chapters real quick, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning. So I want you to just think about these because you have the book in front of you. This is important. This is a book that you should be highlighting and you should be writing in, all right? And so the right to be rich, there is a science of getting rich, is opportunity monopolized, first principle in the science of getting rich, increasing life, thinking in a certain way, gratitude, how riches come to you, how to use the will, further use of the will, acting in a certain way, efficient action, getting into the right business, the impression of increase, the advancing man, some cautions, and the summary of the science of getting rich. Okay, so have you ever met someone that was on the road to success and then they sabotaged themselves? Have you ever met anybody like that? I'm sure we have, and sometimes it's not even just somebody, sometimes it's us, right? That has to do with them not doing things in a certain way. So I'm going to give you an example. I don't know how many of you saw this movie. Did you see the movie? Tanya says me. Did you see the movie Tupac? And so think about this. I don't care what you thought of the movie and the acting. I can go see something, and if it's something that I care about, I can get the message and what it is. I can dismiss that maybe they aren't the best actors, maybe there's controversy behind the movie, but I want you to think about the movie because there were some key points in that particular movie, and I'm a big Tupac fan, so maybe that's why I saw it there. So there were things in the movie to where he knew better, but he kept falling into certain patterns of things that he knew he shouldn't be doing. So he had the right knowledge put in his head about self, about being strong. Like when he kept going to his mom and saying, you know better than this, you're stronger, stop being weak. We know the things that need to be done in a certain way, but there are always people, including ourselves, that decide that we're going to do it different when we know the path that needs to be taken, but we continue for whatever reason to get off track and do things in a different way. And then we're wondering, why aren't we having the success that we think we should have. We're always wondering, why are we having challenges? Why is this happening to me? Why am I struggling? I guarantee you, if you sit and you take a look at what you are doing, you're not doing things in alignment. They're not being done in alignment. And I know that for a fact, even with myself, years that it wasn't that I didn't have the talent. It was that I could not get out of my own way. So you're here, if you're on this call, you are here for more than just to learn how to trade. You're not here just to learn to trade. You are here so that Linda and myself can impart on you, so we can come together, the meeting of the minds, and Linda can take the experience that she has had, the failures, the mistakes, the getting off track, all of that, the knowing that she knows, and we bring that together with my years of experience, the areas when I could not get out of my own way, because nothing is different. Nothing is different. The world just continues to regurgitate a lot of the same things, same girl, different dress, right? So you have two people who come together, and you think you're here to learn Forex. No, you're not really here to learn Forex. You're here to get control of your finances and to actually get rich. That's why you're here. And you're here to do things in a certain way. So when Linda is teaching you what she's teaching you, and she is as adamant about you doing things in a certain way, it is because she already has the years of experience and the money of being spent. Like she said, if you listened and heard her words, she had already spent $20,000 when she didn't get out of her own way, and she decided, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and figure it out myself. And you heard her say, I would have made more sense if I'd have just paid the money. Okay? So the mindset, the reason why we do the mindset like we do is because we're trying to get you to, like a science, right? We are trying to get you to do those things without thinking about them. We want you to just follow the instruction. We want you to take our instruction and the time that we put in getting to this point, and we want you to just follow it, like just to go with what it is that we're telling you, right? To follow those instructions. Like when you get into university, there's a program where Linda's going to show you how in 3 to 5 years how to make $1 million, trading in a specific way. But what you're going to find in your study of the science of getting rich, what you're going to find is that when you don't do things in a certain way, you're going to take 4 steps back and maybe take 1 or 2 steps forward. But if you keep doing that, you're never going to get to the place where you want. Okay? So there's a quote in The Science of Getting Rich, and it says, they will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. Do you hear that? That is a really, really strong quote. They will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. And you don't have to do as you do because you have people who've already been there, done that, telling you to do it this way. Now, I'll give you an example. When I left the phone company, working in corporate America, when I left the phone company, I went right into, I got my Series 6 and 63, went right into that. I was the only female, the only black in that office for a long time. I remained the only female in that office for a very long time. I was in Orange County. If you're not familiar with that, here in Southern California, it is a predominantly white, very wealthy area, and that is where I worked. So when I came into that situation, there were all white males. They had all went to schools like Harvard, USC. I had a 2-year degree from a junior college, right? But they took a chance on me. I don't even know why, right? But they took a chance on me and they brought me in because typically everybody had to have a 4-year degree. I did not have that, and I was a single mom. So I come into this place, and the manager there took me under his wing because he saw that I had the desire to learn. He saw that I was both teachable and coachable. And so he told me what to do. He said, Robyn, do this. Robyn, do this. And I just did it. I didn't even think about it. I just did it. And so what I did was they were going to open up offices across the United States, and I wanted that. So I pretty much just did whatever, they said, do this, do that. Obviously, within ethical reasons, I did what I was supposed to do. Well, one time, we would come in on Monday, and on Monday, you'd be there, expect to be in the office 10 hours. And we would overcome objections. You had to learn how to do that so that it was just without thinking of it. It was what they call muscle memory. So we had to overcome objections, and then we had to set 12 appointments for the week, for the rest of the week. Like Tuesday through Friday, you had to have 12 appointments. So I would turn in my sheet. It might be 9 o'clock at night, get ready to go. And Jeff would say, never forgot his name, Jeff Motzke. And Jeff would say, okay, go make 2 more appointments. And I'd say, wasn't the deal that we make 12 and then we can go home? He said, that's for them. That's not for you. He goes, you're better than them. So I want you give me 14. And okay. And I went and I'd get him them other appointments, and then I would come back and give it to him. And he would always say, if I had an office full of Robyns, I'd be wealthy. And so would she. And that was because I did not question the system. I did what I was told to do. Now, I did that. I made a lot of money as a brand new rookie, and a lot of the guys in the office couldn't understand, what is she doing? I broke the vice president's record. I sold the most insurance policies in a week. I did that on pure, what they call ignorance on fire. But what I'm imparting to you is that that's only part of what it is. I had the desire, I had the willingness, I was teachable, I was coachable, but I had a mentor, and I knew that my mentor knew more than me, so I just did what I was supposed to do. That is part of the biggest secret of the science of getting rich, okay? When they say you're going to do things in a certain way, that is what they are talking about. You are going to do things in a certain way. So you're going to go with the tide instead of against it. And Shay says being hard-headed, let me read this, what she said. I think that's important. Being hard-headed will keep you stuck. Be open to learning from those who know. I have done this several times. So I haven't done it just once. I've done it several times. To get it out of my system, I had to do it several times. So we are that sure that we have you on the right path, that the science of what we're doing has been tested, true and tested, and we know that we are giving you the right instruction. We are clear on that. But in the science of getting rich, there are certain things mentally that you have to get yourself prepared for, and the action will handle itself. The act will handle itself if you get your mindset together. And your mindset has to be correct in things like you're not in the competitive mode, you're in the creative mode. These are things that you have to get yourself to think about, and you have to be able to express without really even thinking. Becomes like a science. And when they talk about like a science, it is those things of science that if you do this, you get, the consequences are this. That's what they're talking about. It really is that. If you do this, you get this. And it does not discriminate against, it doesn't discriminate. If you do, whoever does this, you get this. And the thing is that people think they're doing this. People think, oh, I'm doing this. But then you don't have the right attitude. You are, your jealousy is showing. You're not listening. You're not doing things in that certain way. Everything that you do starts with the thought. It starts with the thought of, are you going to, am I going to do this? You have to have that thought first. It's like we call it the why when we're teaching you what to do. So you have to have, everything starts with a thought. So our story with Girls Gone Forex is all throughout the pages of The Science of Getting Rich. It is all throughout the pages of that. And I'm telling you this because I'm asking you to read it again, to highlight things in it, and we're going to break it up into like 3 or 4 chapters and talk to it, because it really is too much to try to talk about it in one call. And I didn't really think about that when I said we're going to do this call. I really just want to kind of light the fire. I want you to hear enough things that make you read it in a different way. So yeah, this is true, Andre. Keep an open mind, be logical to accepting a different thought process. Exactly. And that is the biggest, that was the problem I had, because I thought that when you have a little bit of success, that's the biggest thing that's the biggest issue for most people, is that they have a little bit of success, and so you think, oh, now I got it. And the reality is you need to put the time in for that also. So you have to do these things in a certain way. So you have to remember, again, you're going to start with a thought, okay? What is that thought going to tell you what you need to do with that? And then you have to be in the creation mode instead of the competitive mode. You do not have to take anything away from anyone to get what you want. Do you understand that? You do not, yes, it does, Teresa, absolutely, 100%. You do not have to be in a competitive mode, and you do not have to take anything away from anyone else in order for you to have success. If you've heard me have calls about there are 7 billion people in the world. There are 7 billion people in the world. So you do not, there is plenty, there is abundance. The universe will bring to you, call forth what it is that you need, okay? And you can call it whatever you want to call. I'm just, for sake of this particular book and the way it was written, I'm going to talk to you about how the universe will respond to you, okay? So some of you heard this story, some of you may have not. When I decided that I wanted to do Girls Gone Forex, it wasn't called Girls Gone Forex at the time, it was called the Women of Wall Street. It was a year before I had even met Linda. And I knew that women needed this information. And I remember hearing the lady who heard me talk about Net Rayner, when she told me that everybody needs access to this information, but I didn't know how to teach it, or I didn't know anything about trading, but I still kept acting as if, meaning not faking it, but I still talked about bringing women together, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to have 100 women that know how. I had no idea how it was going to happen. So then I go to Dallas, Texas. Now hear my words. Hear this. You probably heard it, but I want to make sure you hear it again. I like to say it was a chance meeting, and it was, because I went to Dallas, Texas to meet a gentleman by the name of Chance, and Chance is the ex-husband of Linda. So it was a chance meeting. I want you to see how the universe responds. It was a chance meeting. I went there. Where are we going to meet? I have a film crew with me because I have a green company, and we go to Dallas and we meet at Linda's house. He says, I don't know Linda. I only know Chance because he's a Reiki master and he's a life coach. I'm there to film. I have no idea whose house I'm in. I don't know any of this, right? So we film the show. We all get worked on, and then that evening we all go out to dinner, and I say, I've been talking about this for some time. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I need to do it. And I don't know how, but I want to really get into this whole Forex thing, and I want to do it right. I want to really help women. And Chance says, oh, Linda, who's at dinner with us, Linda does Forex. She's been trading for 15 years. And I'm like, what? And yeah, so Linda and I sit and we talk, and then there were many more conversations that happened before we came together. We come together to start learning, and I wasn't even taking lessons from Linda at that time. So I'm going to say in December, I read a book called Turtle Traders. So there was, like I said, you guys heard me say there was another partner with us, and there was this book, Turtle Traders, right? And I remember being in the gym. So I would go to the gym, and I would use Audible, and I would listen to this book so that I was intrigued by this book, The Turtle Traders. So I'm reading the book, I'm listening to the book, and he says what he did with these 15 people. And here's the other thing. The book, The Science of Getting Rich, talks about this too. So you're going to be in the creative mindset. You know how Starbucks makes coffee, but they didn't create coffee. They didn't invent coffee, but they just made it better. So I listened to this Audible, and I went, oh my God, I bet we could do the same thing, but we could do it with women. We're going to be the turtle trader of women. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah. And so I went to Linda, and I said, hey, how do you feel about us doing this? Let's do our own version of this. And what I love about Linda is I can come to her. She's like, yeah, let's do it. And at the time, we had a third partner, and he's like, yeah, let's do it, right? And that was how we got started. In December of 2016, we grabbed the URL, Girls Gone Forex. I had like 3 or 4 different choices of names. I showed it to them. They all picked Girls Gone Forex. Grabbed the URL, and in January, put on Facebook, right? And we then became, instead of the Women of Wall Street, we became Girls Gone Forex. And I remember Annette saying to me, well, you know, Forex isn't really taught on Wall Street. It's taught, you know, she said it's not on Wall Street. And I went, okay, like whatever. That doesn't, okay. And then here we come to Girls Gone Forex. And now here we are with almost 4,000 people in one group and 200 ladies from Forex Essentials. So we're not here by accident, Savorian. She's right. And that's why when I say to people it was a chance meeting, I want you to understand how strong that word is. It was a chance meeting. And yes, his name happens to be Chance. So I'm not taking for granted that saying that it was, because there's no coincidences and there's nothing that's by accident, right? But what we're getting at is the thought. The first part of the Science of Getting Rich is there is a thinking stuff, right? There is a thinking, meaning you had to come up with the idea first. In order for it to respond, you had to come up with the idea. You had to come up with that thought. So there is a thinking stuff, and that's what we did. And so we did that. We didn't think about there are other groups and companies out there that do this. There was no competition. We weren't looking in the competitive mode. We've always been in the creation mode, always have been. And so we just started doing what we first thought of that we were going to do. And we knew that what we were doing is going to help change your life. We knew that. We created what we needed to. So the question is, why do some people attract unlimited wealth? Is it talent? Are they worthy? Is it lack? It is because they do things in a certain way. I'm going to keep this as simplistic as I can for you. It has nothing to do with education, status, talent, environment, intellect, ability, or geography. It has nothing to do with all of that. And I'll prove it to you. Because when I worked at that company in Orange County, and all guys were driving up in their Ferraris, and I was a single mom with a 2-year degree over their 4-year, under their 4-year, I should say. How is it that I came in there and I became the top salesperson and I beat the pants off of those guys? How? Because I did things in a certain way. If my boss told me to look left, I looked left. If he said look right, I looked right. But I also had the desire and the why, and I was coachable and I was teachable. When I messed up that with self-sabotage is when I did not follow all the way through. See, sometimes you get to that little place and you think, oh yeah, I got this. Oh, I went through Forex Essentials and I'm good. I'm going to go open up a live account. I got this. Yeah, like Teresa says, ego. And the reality is, how can you compare yourself to someone who's been trading for 15 years and has the experience, and you, in your 6-week, 12-week, 36. How do you compare that, right? So you have to be in it for the long haul, because these traits that we have to do the things we do, to sabotage ourselves, to not be able to get out of our own way, we carried them for a long time. I didn't just get that way. I've been that way for some time, right? It's just like, you heard me talk about this before. If I have 20 pounds to lose, guarantee you, I didn't put those, if I gained 20 pounds, I didn't gain them overnight. So why would I think I'm going to lose it overnight? We have to get out of our stinking thinking. We have to. We have to get out of our stinking thinking, right? And we have to reprogram the way we think and the way we do things. We have to, in order for us to have the success. So there are fundamental principles. There are fundamental principles. You know how math works with certainty? Like 1 + 1 is always 2. 2 + 2 is always 4, right? That's the same way this works when you get it. That's why Linda takes it so to heart, because in her mind she's thinking, but I'm telling you exactly what to do, right? Then she brings me in and she says, but I'm telling you exactly how to think. We're not trying to change your personality. We're not trying to have you be something that you're not, right? Be the person that you are. You know, like what you like, eat what you like. But if you want to succeed in this arena, you've got to make it like a science, right? You have heard me say this before. This hoping stuff, you don't want to, don't say to me, well, I hope I got it right. You either got it right or you didn't. There is no hoping about it. You either got it right, you either did the work and put in to get it right. Do not say you're hoping. You know how you make things you know how you get things to be better? Do them better. Yeah, you don't hope for better days, you make better days. That is important that you get that. So we decided with Girls Gone Forex to go with the tide instead of going against it. We decided to go with the tide. And then here's what that means. I am often in situations just like Linda, just like what you heard with Annette, where we're the only woman in the room and they're not welcoming to us, right? I will say this. I have had more issues being a woman than I've ever had being black. And some people may agree or disagree. I'm telling you about my life. I have had more issues being a woman than I've ever had being black. And what I mean by that is that we decided to go with the tide instead of against it. Look, we weren't going to try to make them let us do anything. We decided to go with the flow. I wish you could see me doing my hands with this. We decided to go with the flow, okay? So we decided to create our own. We're still in that space, right? We're still doing what they do, but we just going to do it our way, right? I'm not knocking on your door, begging for you to let me in. I'm just going to build my own door, right? Right. Going to build my own door. Oh, and now I'm going to go get me some of our own girls. So instead of having a good old boys network, we decided to have a good old girls network. Hey, a good old girls network. Right? That's what they mean about going with the tide instead of against it. That is what we're talking about. Instead of going against it, we decided to build our own door. Is the market the same? Is the market doing the same thing that it's doing for us, that it's doing for the guys? Right? The market's doing the same thing. So what did we do? Did we ask for a market that only caters to women? No. We decided to create a door that women could walk through. That's it. Teresa, that is wonderful. Be your own superhero. Okay? So in doing that, Linda is the one that said, because she wants to see more success. She wants to see more. Linda's the one that said, hey, we got to do more mindset. And when I looked, I started thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get them on that whole science of getting rich thing. Because Linda's got the program to help make that happen in 3 to 5 years, right? So what I got to do is I got to get you to get your head right. I got to get you to get out your feelings. I got to get you to stop trying to compete. I got to get you to like being around other women instead of having issues with other women. I got to get you to just follow the system. Oh my goodness, your 200 girls is going to turn into 2 million. That's what I'm talking about. That right there, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So remember this quote? They will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. No, we're not going to, no. They will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. So we decided to step outside of that because that is the problem. What do they call insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting different results. So this is where you come in, ladies. And Bert, if you're on the call, listen, this is important. You know how I'm telling you all the time that I need you to look back? People always say, oh, don't look back, you're not going that way. I want you, Angela, you ladies, that's what I'm talking about, you're on it. I want you to look back. You know how you look back to the left in trading? Those of you that have got to that point, you know how you look to the left? You got to look back. Because if you don't look back, how will you recognize the errors and the things that you're doing that are not the patterns, as Andrea said? How will you recognize the patterns that are not serving you well? How do you, like Noni says, break generation? How? If you don't look back. You've got to look back, right? What I want you to do is look back and make some adjustments. I want you to break those patterns, break that curse, write down where you did it. And not like, oh, you're going to be so hard on yourself. No, you're going to do what you need to do for yourself, and that is to make the adjustments. You're going to go back and you're going to build a better you. You're not going to beat up on yourself for what you did or when you didn't have the right information. You're not going to do that. That journal is going to turn into your legacy. That journal turns into your legacy. That journal is what you're going to pass on to your children when they're having a hard time in life, because they will, right? That journal is what you're going to hand over to them so that they can understand, look, we don't give kids enough credit. They're so smart. My granddaughter, you guys hear me talk about her all the time, is 7 years old. And some of the things that she says just kind of blow me away sometimes. There was a song on, and my son said to me, he says, I asked Kayla, did she like this song? And she said, oh, I don't really like listening to that song because it makes me think about my friend who moved away. And I just melted, the fact that she thinks like that. So I'm saying to you, all of these things are things that your challenges, your struggles are the things that you are going to use them to show that when you make the adjustment, you get a better life, right? Or you get on track to get a better life. And those are the things that you want to be able to teach. You want to be able to teach. This is how you break these chains. This is how you break the cycle, right? And this is how you go back and you can be so proud of the fact that you were open enough to change the things that are not working for you, because I'm going to keep saying this until you get it. They will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. That quote says everything. It says everything. You just go, close your eyes, and think about that. And that quote says everything. And that is the simplicity of what it is that we're learning right now. That is the simplicity of this book and the science of getting rich. There's a lot to it, but this is what I want you to do, because if we're serious about making this happen, we got to do some work, right? There's some work we have to do. And I'll be the first one to tell you, it's hard every single day. I hate going to the gym. I don't like it. I think Linda likes it. I don't like it. Okay? But I'm at a stage where I have to do it. I have to. No matter how much I don't like it, there's just things that I have to do in order for me to have a better life. I gotta do it. You know, you have to do these things if you want to have a better life. And so here's what we're going to do. Here is what we're going to do. We're going to continue to lock arms. Understand this about growth on Forex. It's your choice once you get through the classes to go off and do what you do. Our desire would be for you to stay with us long term. The sisterhood, like Teresa says, the sisterhood is created. The good old girls network. Let them talk about us. Let them stay with, let them, like we did at the event in Long Beach, right? It's a lifestyle, exactly. It's a culture. It's something that Linda's working on, the kids program, that you now have your children learning what to do, right? Because what you're doing is reprogramming their mind. You are reprogramming how they think. So it's all of that. It is a culture. It's a lifestyle. We are going to reprogram how we've been programmed for years, and you continue to be who you are, but just like a science, right? And that example, I want you to keep in your head. Whoever jumps off of the Empire State Building, gravity does not allow, no matter how much you might pray about it, hope about it, think about it, if we jump off of that building, gravity, this thing called gravity, this science called gravity, says we all are going to hit the ground, right? So what we have to do is do business that same way. There is a thinking stuff that says you do it in this way, in this way, in this way, and then you get the results because you are doing things in a certain way. And the old way, if you put these pieces of the puzzle together, the old way doesn't work. The old way doesn't work. So you have to take every little piece of this puzzle and make that happen. And then the last part of this, because we're going to have another call, obviously, because I think there's more. I want everybody to commit to breaking the book up into, it's only like the way I gave it to you, it's like 4 or 5 pages. So I want you to do is just, we've got till September 11th, till the next class starts. We can get about, I'm going to do maybe 3 or 4 more calls about this, but I want you to go back like it's brand new, like you just started reading it for the first time, and I want you to take it in a little bit different. And so I want you to start in, and I want you to read, just take in 2 or 3 chapters, but then make notes about it. Talk about it. Get in your study groups. Make sure that they are clear on what that means. You know how when we were in school and you had to do, remember how they had you do your addition, your subtraction, and your multiplication, and you had to do them over and over again and over and over again until they, like, well, you don't even have to think about it. 8 times 4, 32. You already know it, right? I don't know if everybody was, I'm a little older than most of you, so we're taught that way. But it has to become muscle memory. Like when you get in the car, you don't even know how you got where you are. You don't see yourself adjusting your mirror, putting the key in the ignition. It's such a habit forming that you just do it, right? It's an automatic, okay? So that's the same kind of thing that we're going to do. So I want you to all commit that we're going to take this book and we are going to dissect this so that we know exactly why and what we have to do to get on point, and to make it like a science. And so this is the last thing. Here is how riches come to you. And I'm going to break them up a little bit more. Like I said, we'll do our next call. And I'll give you a schedule. And then that way you'll know. Because how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So I want you to think about this. How riches come to you. You do not have to get something for nothing, but can give to man more than you take from them. This is important. This is important. This is why some people come into the course and leave and don't take it seriously. We did that on purpose. The reason that our classes don't cost like these other people that you see that are $20,000, $28,000 and things like that, we did that on purpose because we were trying to find out who is looking to get something for nothing. Bet you didn't know that. We're trying to figure out who is trying to get something from nothing. Did you know that's a mentality? Trying to get something for nothing is a mentality. It is a mentality that will stop you from getting rich. You have to know when you are getting a good return on investment and when somebody is doing something for you at a value, and you have to treat it as a value. See, we're so used to valuing stuff, cars and houses and jewelry and purses. You put value on that, right? And that doesn't take you anywhere. Where does it take you having a $2,000, $3,000 purse, right? Or having a $100,000 car? Okay, so what do you get for that? And again, there's nothing wrong with having that, but I just want you to think of the mentality behind it. I'll give you a perfect example. Let me give you an example. You ever seen, a lot of you are parents. I want you to think about this. So let's say your kids were living in their own apartment, and let's say they were paying $1,500 a month. Then they come move in with you for whatever reason. They come move in with you. And you lucky if you can get $300 out of them. You're lucky if you can get $300. But they was paying somebody else $1,500. And then when they come to you, they don't want to give you but $300. What is that about? Right? That's a mindset. All of these things about how you think about things, yeah, Teresa, always wanting something for free. That is a mentality. You know the value of these classes. You know the value of the association. You know it, okay? And so as you are spreading the word and sharing the good of what it is that we're doing, pay attention to that when you're dealing with people. Pay attention to who has that kind of mentality. Because you want to create a tribe and an inner circle where everybody knows that they're where they're supposed to be. They know, you don't have to tell them, you don't have to beat them into submission for them to get it. They know it. And they honor that, and they act as if they paid $20,000 for this course just like the other places are charging. They know there's value there. That is a mentality. And so you treat it as such. They always say that people don't treat something the same if it's not theirs, if they don't own it. They always say that about people. They'll say, oh, people don't treat things the same way if it's not theirs. If they don't own it, they don't treat stuff the same. Well, don't be that person. I'll give you an example. So I had an apartment, and I was there about 4 years. And the man, they come and do a pre-inspection before you leave. And the man said to me, in my whole 4 years of doing this, I've never seen anybody's place as clean as yours is. And I said, are you serious? And he says, yeah, I've never seen it. In my whole 4 years, I've never seen anybody's place to be this clean. And I said, wow. I said, well, I'm going to treat it like it's mine. It's an apartment, and I was renting it, but why would I not treat it nice? He said, no, there are people when they leave, he said, the bathtub is black. They don't, it's just a mess. They tear things up when they leave, and I said, no, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't want to turn something back to somebody that I didn't take care of. Like, why would it doesn't matter if it's not mine. Why wouldn't I take care of it? So I'm saying all this to you. I know I'm giving you a lot tonight, but I want you to think about these things. Check yourself. We're going to do everything we can. I'm going to keep giving you the best mindset you're ever going to get, because the goal, the pride, and I tell people this all the time. Look, I want you to be responsible for your own success. But my purpose and my mission, and I know Linda feels the same way, is I want to see 100 ladies, and at some point 1,000 ladies, 2,000 ladies. I want to see us change our lives and change the lives of others I don't want to see us complaining about what's going on in the world and that. I want us to make the difference because we can. And it is just going to take some work and it's going to take some time. But I want the things that they say we can't do as women, as women of color, let's change that whole perception of what the world says is, and we make it something different because we have the power to do that. Gravity is no respecter of persons, is no respecter of color, of anything. It just means that we can make a difference if we take this like a science. You don't have to get robotic. I'm not saying you have to be like Spock, but when it comes to changing your generation, it's got to be that passionate and ingrained in your heart and your soul and your mind that you don't let anything get in your way to stop you from doing that, okay? So that is a message, and that is a culture, and that is a vision, and that is a heart that I want you to have as you are a part of Girls Gone Forex. Let Linda see, and now I'm going to say Linda, because Linda is, if you only knew the heart and soul she puts into these classes. Heart and soul, I'm telling you, without getting paid to do this, come on, let's prove to her that what she is doing by giving from the very pits of her soul, let us prove to her that there is value in giving in that way. We can change this, right? We can have a shift in the paradigm. We can make things different. We hold that power. We hold that power, and so we can do it. So anyway, ladies, I want to thank you for being on this call. We're going to have another call. I'll give you a schedule because the Science of Getting Rich, this book right here is so powerful. My mentor, Karen Joyce, I know that she would be so proud that I am in my own way continuing her work, and that it was not done in vain. She did not spend those Monday mornings at 9 a.m. in vain talking to me and trying to get into my head that we are going to take this out and show people how it should be done. All right? So thank you, ladies, for getting on the call. Make sure you get your teammates, your sisters, and make sure that they listen to the call if they're really serious about changing their life. All right? All right, ladies, we'll see you later. Have a great evening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.